Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'll be walking you through the interpretation organizers, which is the third step in the inquiry cycle. Before I move on to that, I'm just going to go over the learning goals for interpretation 2. This is the standard that you'll be assessed on for this step. So interpretation 2 requires that you're able to evaluate the claims, evidence, and reasoning behind currently accepted explanations or solutions to determine the merits of an argument. So what that basically means is you're able to think critically about the evidence that an author provides, whether that evidence is reliable, whether the claim that an author gives is also reliable or trustworthy, and that basically leads you to determine whether that source is something that you should use or something that you should cite in your final product. So on grade level, you should be able to critique ideas within a text by thinking with an open mind and a skeptical mind. To critique something is to judge it. So on grade level, you should be able to judge a source. You should first look at that source as a piece of evidence that is reliable, but at the same time think of it as unreliable and look for evidence that would help you find whether it is reliable or not. Since this is new for many of you, some of you may begin at level 2 or approaching grade level. That is the basic skill that you would need to move up to grade level. On level 2, you should be able to annotate with an open mind using strategies such as summarizing and clarifying. That is basically you understanding what you're reading by using strategies that will allow you to make sense of it. Above grade level is critiquing ideas and taking an informed position on an issue raised by a text. So level 4 is a step higher. It's basically you reading a text, and then from the text you will be able to develop your own opinion based on your ability to critique the ideas in the text. And just as you're expected to self-assess where you stand on each of the steps, once you've completed the interpretation organizer, once you've responded to these questions and attempted to evaluate the information and critique the ideas and the sources, you will then be able to assess yourself by determining where you stand, whether you stand on grade level, whether you're above grade level, or whether you're approaching. And then you would have to write one thing that you will do to improve in interpretation 2. Okay, now that I've explained the learning goals for interpretation 2, I'm just going to go over the organizer quickly without necessarily reading each question and going over it that way. Otherwise, it would just be really boring. So this organizer basically allows you to do what the standard requires you to do. One of the biggest things I want to point out is you'll come across a lot of sources, and it's very difficult to make sense of those sources without really thinking critically about them, without thinking about how valuable they are to either allowing you to develop a position, or whether they are something that makes you second guess your initial thoughts. So there are a few questions that I would like to point out in this tutorial. One of the things is that there will be many sources that may go against your initial thoughts. What you originally thought is your position regarding the inquiry question. And in this particular question, you are to determine whether there are any sources that do not support your initial thoughts, and then explain how. Those are the ones that you should refer back to, and just because they do not support your initial thoughts don't mean that they are not valuable. They probably might lead you to developing a new perspective. So there are also questions such as this one that have you think of whether there are any sources that make you ask more questions, that raise new questions. And then after you've done all of that, and these questions really do go in order that allow you to reach this point. This is where you will determine how and if your position changed as a result of the sources. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully you were able to understand what is expected of you in this step. If you have questions about how to complete this, feel free to ask your peers or myself, and hopefully we could help you out even more. So I'll see you in class, and bye.